Welcome back to the Chasing Happiness podcast, an honest podcast about finding happiness, what it really means, and the process of getting there. My name is Crystal, and today we're going to talk about the fact that it's now November, which I know seems silly, but because it's November, that means for most of us, no matter where you find yourself in the world, you've probably been living through this COVID-19 epidemic for 8 months. And I don't know about you, but when we started this back in March, most of us didn't think it would last 8 months. Now, in all fairness, there was a few of us who were saying, hey, this could take a year or two. But most people thought a few months will get back to normal. So for today, rather than give you a whole bunch of things that you can do or changes we can make to improve our lives, I just want you to congratulate yourself. I want you to give yourself a pat on the back because you've made it 8 months. And granted, we don't know how much longer it's going to last. We don't know if it'll be 3 months or 3 years before we have a vaccine or before this COVID-19 epidemic ends. But what we do know is in the beginning, we weren't sure we could make it a month or two. And we've now made it 8 months. Life is finding a way to adapt. Hollywood is back to recording. Bubbles are being created so that people can get back to work. Precautions are being made so that other businesses outside of essential services can be working, can be thriving, can be earning money. And I think that's all commendable. We've done a fantastic job making the changes that were needed in order to get to where we are. Parents, if you have kids, you have not only survived getting them through this online education, but in some cases, they're thriving. In some cases, you're just surviving, but that's okay too. Life looks different now than it did 8 months ago, and we're finding a way to try to get back some of the things that we've missed. And that's commendable. People got creative and found ways to have Halloween, even if it meant that they had to do it in their own homes and they had to do it very creatively so that their kids were occupied and having fun. We were still able to have Halloween. People have had digital Thanksgiving here in Canada because they couldn't have a bunch of family members over to their home. Now, granted, every country is doing a little bit different. Every country has different numbers and different regulations, but you as a person have survived the last 8 months, and that's commendable, and that's worth celebrating. So for this week, I just want you to take stock in just how much you've survived so far, just how much you've been able to accomplish in the last 8 months, and just how well you're doing. Given the circumstances, you're doing a great job. And that's worth celebrating. I don't know how long this will go on for. I don't know how much longer we will all have to self-isolate, but I do know winter is coming. And so for most of us here in North America, at least especially the northern parts of North America, we're going to be hibernating in our homes for the next few months anyway. Because if you're anything like me, you do not like the snow, so you will be staying home most of the time. And so my hope is, come spring, that not only do we have a vaccine, but maybe we have been able to make positive changes in our communities where even if it means I have to wear a mask when I go to the beach, I can still go to the beach and have fun with my friends. My hope is that people are able to create plans for the Christmas holiday where they can see their immediate family. Even if it means everybody has to be tested, everybody has to quarantine for a couple of weeks ahead of time, and maybe a couple of weeks after. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. And every person is going to have to make a decision for themselves what works and what doesn't for them, what risk they're willing to take and what risk they're not. But I have hope that things are going to get better because I can tell you based on the last 8 months, if I look at where my country was in April versus where my country is now, people are wearing masks. People are social distancing. People are gaining a level of respect for frontline workers and essential workers. People care more about the elderly and the at-risk. And I think those are all great things. So I think we need to celebrate the fact that we've worked really hard to get to where we are. We're doing the best that we can. And some days maybe that feels like it's not enough. But I promise you, because none of us ever thought we would end up in this position, I promise you, you're doing a great job. So celebrate the fact that you've made it 8 months so far. Celebrate that even though we didn't know how to 8 months ago, we've been able to keep our economy going here in Canada. And if you're from somewhere else in the world, maybe you've been able to do the same as well. But our economy is able to survive. Non-essential businesses are now starting to reopen or have been reopening. Things don't look as bleak as they did back in March and April. And I think that's a good thing. I think we're doing the best that we can given the circumstances. And we all deserve a pat on the back. So this week, get yourself a glass of wine or a bottle of champagne or just have a coffee or a tea and take a minute to realize you've done an amazing job. And don't beat yourself up for whatever mistakes you think you've made over the last 8 months, because this pandemic didn't come with a guidebook. We're all doing the best that we can and we're learning as we go. We're all in this together. We are all on the same ocean. We're just in different boats depending on who you are, where you live, and what your country is telling you. You're doing the best that you can, and that's worth celebrating. Have a great week, and I will chat with you guys next week. Bye for now.